Well, we're back on the time loop after almost 3 weeks of hiatus. Well, it's kind of awkward. Just like I mentioned this kind of thing before. It's not that I don't enjoy doing the series itself. I just kind of wish this game is just sometimes kind of hard to just pick up and play. The driving physics, and just the way the game functions is kind of unforgiving. If I were doing a series on F1, I could just use flashbacks and go back and correct screw-ups. It's much of a game. It's just easier. If I were doing it on GT Sport, there really isn't much of a damage model on there. But in this game, there is a ton of damage. I could turn it off, but part of me kind of feels like, well, I started with it off to ease into the series, and it's been on for the last like 40 so episodes now, probably more than that. So turning it off all of a sudden would just be kind of silly. I was seeing the texture on that fence glitch out, and I thought it was raining. And I was like, how? The forecast is heavy clouds. Plot development here. While everybody has been stammering off towards Monza because of the whole Nitori assault, come to find that, as this mostly empty starting group will tell you, she is perfectly fine. Effectively, that modified Renault that was in that race was not her. That was just some random Renault driver. Nitori never got in that car. Perhaps Nitori, being A, kind of above average intelligence, to say the least, and B, being kind of, shall we say, like, non-confrontational, probably knew that such a massive modification to these cars, and specifically these cars, probably wouldn't set well with whatever kind of antagonism she was facing here from Carbon and Paradox and etc. That, she probably had to get out of Dodge, and she is quite good at doing that, being able to turn invisible. Probably just activated her optic camouflage suit, ran to her other Renault, and just left. And she's ended up in the neighboring country of France, or specifically the Principality of Monaco. Now, normally the game would call it Monaco or Monte Carlo, but for whatever reason, the game couldn't even get the license to the name of a city. I don't know how or why not, but they did not. So they instead have to call it Azure Circuit. But it's the same thing as Monaco. Like, point blank. It's wider than the real thing because it has to accommodate for more than just Formula 1 cars, unlike real life, where basically nothing else happens here nowadays other than open wheel racing. Although, to be fair, I think Formula 1 cars nowadays are probably wider than these GTs. And, Nitori was like, okay, I've escaped everything, every other person, all the, 20 people. Yeah, she never bothered to tell any of us, either, that she was not in that car. So, someone like myself, or Dexter, or anyone else that she was establishing any kind of relationship with, mostly through engineering knowledge to some extent, yeah, that all just kind of went out the window. In the sake of self-preservation and in the name of progress. And so, she gets here, and she doesn't expect to find anyone. Monza. Lightnin's here. Lightnin attempted to make his way towards Monza, but kind of lost the signal, and just kind of stuck around here because he had heard there was a race later that day. And so now he's here, happens to run into Nitori in the pit lane as she assumes a different racetrack. She didn't want to go towards Le Mans because this was closer. She didn't want to go towards Austria because that would be a big place to look, because a lot of the drivers have a lot of experience with that place. And there wasn't really any other neighboring place besides, well, France or Austria. All that out of the way, should probably actually start the game. Audi, what are you doing? Okay, I guess we were braking like an absolute... hello? Excuse me, 26, a car that I think would actually fit in Nitori better, but number was taken by Danny already. I've never driven this track on this game before, by the way. Driven on F1 plenty. Not here. This may be easier, and it may also be harder when I eventually get around opponents. Or at least get distance away from opponents. Oh, good job, Porsche. I saw that. Can you two stop going too wide so I can pass you already? I'm not going to pass them there, though. This corner isn't wide enough to try and even go through it. Normally, apparently. Oh my god! Aston! Move your Aston! Make me do something stupid. And we'll do it if you keep holding me up. The guy in the lead is going to walk away with this. And then he has a lot more horsepower than me, so he just kind of steps away. But he's leaving himself open in braking zones. Sort of like that. Car, please turn. Was it clean? No. Nitori care? Also no. She isn't exactly a beacon of humanity, to say the least. She's also not even human, so there's that. Oh my god! You weren't braking, but you were definitely slowing down a lot more than it looked like. AI are not great out of that turn. Please wait. It's basically how that corner feels. Now loading next corner. Please wait. Just stalling for time while the next part of the track is ready to be driven on again. That is one corner that makes me glad that I have corner cut warnings and such off. Mainly with Nitori's situation, she doesn't have really anything at risk here. Other than herself, if she wrecks the car, which is not hard to do at Monaco to say the least, but at the same time. Hitting the wall a couple of times here isn't gonna kill you unless you hit it really hard. Hitting the wall at 23 miles an hour, unless you get really unlucky or are made of paper, it's not likely to be lethal, unless you're riding a bicycle. But in a race car with big body panels like this one, scraping a wall at 20 miles an hour is not really going to be bad for your health. Not great for the car, but your life is a little more important than a bit of scraping off paint. Of course this is E4 in the lead. What the heck else would it be? Wait, that's an SLS. I can't tell from here. Oh, really? That did that? I don't even feel it. It doesn't feel any different. What? I mean, that was just me missing. That's an SLS up there. I should really stop talking about what the car is and just drive. Not the damage's fault, just the car not turning. It wasn't turning there before either. I swear, the car doesn't feel different. Hey Ray, what'd you do to this one now? Did you engineer some sort of like ultra suspension? I never really know with her. This car is probably smarter than me. Actually, it almost certainly is smarter than me, because there's an engine computer unit in there. It has a computer built into it. It is automatically smarter than me. But it's also apparently a lot sturdier than me. Good old Kappa engineering can really just design invulnerable suspension. Because the car's damage visible on the outside? Alright, take your time, Mercedes. We're gonna have plenty of laps around this place, so I guess just belt in and get ready for a ride. I'm gonna take you for a ride. I had a lot of references I could make there, I couldn't choose at first. There would not be a lot if I had corner cutting warnings on, I would like you to know. There we go. Car a little finicky on exit, but that corner's just not designed for this sort of thing, by the way. At least it's not designed with that in mind. It can be taken, obviously. Yes, I guess Nitori and other Kappas are capable of designing suspension systems on cars that either don't break or can fake being broken. Need to get these next couple of turns right, and I can just nail this Mercedes into that heavy braking zone ahead. Because the AI seem to be weak out of the next right turn. Never mind, this guy is different. I actually didn't want to do that at all. It's just that I was sitting behind him, and so therefore aerodynamics kind of affected braking. This car seems to have changed a little bit as the sun went down. Little wall scrapes. Oh, the frame rate also not happy. Me also not happy if this guy decides to do something stupid through this chicane of all places. On the other hand, this is a little easier than F1, because tiny little misjudgments like that one could easily destroy my car completely. But here, that little wall scrape, no visible damage. Okay, now that we're on a straightaway, I want to see, is this visible damage at all? No, there is nothing at all that looks off about the suspension whatsoever. Also, it seems fitting, Nitori's car is sponsored by a bank firm. Oh! Reverse, please! First gear, please! Oh, damage is definitely there now. Yeah, ignore the 30 rear, the 8 at the front is what's going to kill me. Oh my god. Oh, so those were like nightclub lights aren't there in real life. I don't know what that's supposed to be, but it's nothing that is actually there. Look at low speed, suspension damage means a little bit less. Well, Nitori may know how to create and tinker with technology, but can she preserve technology? It's the ultimate test. Alex has done something similar to this before. Since Nitori can put herself on the list of drivers that can drive with bothered suspension. I think barring incredible circumstance, the win is out of the question. But I'd have to keep looking at split times, and that's not something I have the nerve to try and do around this track. There's not really a straight way to look at it, and even if there is, the car is not going to go straight down anymore. So it makes this corner a little easier to having that bit of suspension damage, but exiting left turns is kind of going to mess with my muscle memory, because when I think I've made enough cornering input, the car is just like, cancel that. No, it isn't. Not even on the thumbstick. Now I am, but... Totally fine racing lines. All good things, all good things. I am actually gaining back up to the SLS, however, passing with suspension damage is, as you can probably guess, a very awkward task. So that means I have to keep the car straight enough to not run into the guy while I'm trying to do it. But yeah, no, I am certainly still faster, even with this little bit of damage. Let's not add more damage, please. Boing. Let's further test this broken suspension damage, shall we? Seems like a good idea. Boing. Even he looks a little bit off kilter there. Jeez. seems like he's getting taken by surprise when he gets next to a wall. He's like, ah, barrier! And he, like, kind of shakes a little. Oh my god. There's that bad exit. No, nothing. "20 miles an hour. Tunnel Echo really doesn't exist. It almost seems like he has suspension damage. The way he's maneuvering. That's Monaco for you. I could have probably spit on that wall. Oh, I'm gonna be spitting on that one. Boing. Well then. Gotta run now, gotta run now. You know, considering all of the entirety of the experience I've had on this game in the last 2 weeks is a failed recording on a completely different track, and all the experience I've had on this track is in a completely different car, in a completely different game, this is going still better than I would have ever thought it would go. Which is to say, I haven't crashed yet. And which is also to say, this is my first attempt, and it's so far not been scrapped yet. That corner exit is so awkward. This one can be a little bit too. Just kind of why I'm jumping the corner a little bit. Well, we're going to have about 5 laps remaining here. You can really see my lap times have not really dropped that much either. I think that's kind of comparing the lap times of undamaged car versus the lap times of I vaguely know how to drive this track now. Granted, I haven't really given the other Toho drivers too much of a chance in the spotlight, but so far in this kind of second chapter of Time Loop, Nitori is really showing herself to be a top brass driver. And even top brass off the track too. Outsmarting even Carbon and Paradox, as well as, in a sense, everybody else. Most of on corner exits, the car maybe a bit off camber, and so the game is actually doing that with traction control. And yes, actually that was a better place to look at that than a straightaway, because there are none. 4 laps to go. The lap was a lot slower. 'Cause to be honest, I'm just trying not to crash again more than anything else. It is easier said than done around this track as is, and then you add in some suspension damage to the mix. And Nitori is working against all odds. That felt awkward. Kind of forgot for a moment, but I forgot that Lightnin is somewhere in this race. Heaven knows where. Probably exactly where he started, because it's Monaco, and passing here is already difficult before you factor in the fact that it's AI racing each other and not other people. Not to mention the Lamborghini lacks front downforce, meaning it doesn't have the best handling. Kind of akin to Lightnin himself. Power, but not much handling to go with it. So Fast is the same way. And that's kind of why So Fast is on the Audi. Alright, so now the rear damage has gotten more, and I don't know if that's contributed to... That might actually be why the traction control. Stop, please. Thank you. We will have 3 laps to go, including this one. So it's really just like 2 3/4. Daylight beckons. It is wintertime in game. It is using the current real-life date. And so therefore, sun rises very late. Oh yeah, whatever I got suspension damage from, I don't know which of these little tiny impacts it was. But it's totally slowed down the car a lot. It doesn't feel much more different than when I just got the 8 front. But the car is feeling it. And lap times are also demonstrated. Now the Mercedes isn't quite on my exhaust pipe yet. But another lap driving in this condition, I don't think he will be far. I want to see if I can see the sunrise. I don't dare look around right now. I've forgotten how this works. There we go. Just cover your ears for about 20 more seconds or so. You can uncover them now. Nice, oh, that's not a JPEG, just the bokeh doing that. That's actually a kind of high quality picture over there of that ship. Oh my god, it's a 3-dimensional picture. What? I guess this is 2017 after all. Oh, you really can't see here, alright. Yes, I do have a kind of high tendency to gush over the looks of this game. It is one of the prettier looking games out there. Can't really see it too well, though. Right, damage. Moving right. I didn't tell it to do that. I briefly forgot about that. 2 laps remaining. I am aware of what is wrong with the car. Thank you. At this point, there's really not much I would want to do about it, let alone can do about it. Yes, I could theoretically pit, but I've already driven on this like this for like a couple of laps now. I'm not fixing it now. When I can still win, assuming I don't crash again. And a bit of a brief plug while I get onto a pseudo straightaway. Tyler may not be in time loop anymore, because he has lost access to his copy of this game. His car will still be in the game, and I'll still refer to him as Tyler, even though it can't be him. Yeah, like it could be Thrasher. But over on his channel, which is referred to as Nitro Fusion Games, Nitro Fusion Gaming. Games is his PlayStation Network username. He and myself are doing a series called the Americas Tour. Kind of a similar premise, even has a couple of time loop drivers involved. Bert Wheeler and Alex are involved in the series, driving in the series, which is on NASCAR Heat 4, where each driver is associated with a different AI car. Probably turn these off. And we are on the final lap. That was a bad time to turn those off. Oops. Where's the handbrake? Hear that applause, Nitori? Move over, Alex, because looks like Nitori can win with the damage. And I'll be honest, I don't know how I just did any of that. No, I'm not normally this good at this. I don't know how I'm doing this either. I can drive in cockpit view on Gran Turismo Sport, but I can't do it here usually. Ow. see how Grease Lightning turned out in this one. Oh my god, that was a workout. Not ideal. Alright, well that's gonna do it for this absolute bombshell of an episode of Time Loop.